Good morning. Thank you for joining us. This is today's live on Equa Television International. We are glad that you could join us this morning so that we'll do this show together. We know in this show, for this few days, I think me and Engineer Tony Jenakali were not here, but thank God, we're out for some assignment, and today we are back. The squad is intact today, so I bet you the show is going to take a different dimension today because it's going to be wonderful. It's going to be insightful, and then we just pray that you will just keep tight with Equa Television as we kick up with the issues of today. And today's live, we look at issues that people are going through, and then we see how we talk from our own angle and then from our compass, which is the Bible. We're going to look at living happy and healthy. Are you happy? Are you healthy? Which one is missing? If you're having the two, and that's God's idea. And I have Engineer Tony J. Nakadi in the house.
I'm happy to be here. I was never aware that I was away, though. I'm happy to be here.
They know.
Because I thought we have been doing today's live together.
We have been
Wow.
lately.
Wow. Wow.
Off camera.
Wow. Prudence, welcome on the show.
Thank you.
You
Good
look,
morning.
you look beautiful.
Thank you.
You look beautiful, Prudence.
Joyce, you look great.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love your shirt.
Fan, fan, fan. Fan, 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 fan. Fan, fan. Today's live, and I'm happy I'm rocking it live on today's live. I've missed the set. I've not been around, but it's good to be back. And we're back talking about happiness and health. It's a two duo that you cannot talk about one without the other. There's no way you can be unhealthy and happy, and there's no way you can be happy without health. So it's just an amazing thing to be here. I don't know about bougie people, but I'm happy to be here. Let me sip my coffee.
Not just happy.
Thank
I'm
you, Equa
healthy.
Executive, for supporting this show. At least we can have coffee on the show. We are very grateful. Please let this not temper with the budget of our show. Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone.
I think the budget will increase now that they know you need coffee, to keep the show running.
Amazing.
Looking at living happy and healthy. What's the original plan, of God concerning us human beings, like to be happy and to be healthy?
Certain things come before the other. The Bible says in Genesis that God intended, well, I would say intended. It's not written that way in the Bible. But the intent was that God will come and fellowship with man. God came. The Bible says God came in the calmness, in the cool of the evening, to have fellowship with man. That's why men like leaving the house in the coolness of the night to go and have fellowship with other men and come back home. Men are like God. Just I'm redefining scriptures. but you see, the original idea that God created man is not for the happiness of man. The original idea is not for the happiness of man. It's not for the health of man. Do you understand? But as men grew and as men leveled up in their understanding of God, a lot of things changed. But the original idea of God was to have fellowship. Imagine, sir, how can you have fellowship with the president of this country every evening and be sick or unhappy? If he is asking you to come every 6 p.m. or 5 p.m., let me have this relationship with you every evening for 8 years. That means if at any point you become sick. They take you to the best doctors in the world to treat you. Why? So that that fellowship will continue. Anything that will distract that relationship, that fellowship, it will be dealt with. Relating with that president makes you happy, and in turn, your health is kept intact. So the original idea, God made us so that we can really have fellowship with Him, koinonia, sweet fellowship with God. But then, man blew up. Man blew it up when he heard woman. I need to see if I got it. Man blew it up when he heard a woman. So you see, that is the reason, because God said, Adam, where are you? And the Bible never recorded that anytime God came in that garden, He asked where they were. No, because God knew where to always find them. And they also knew where to always find God. Maybe they had a spot where they always met every evening. I'm not aware. But maybe, but God has presence. When He comes, you will feel it. So in that place that you are hiding, how did you think that God did not know? When God asked them, where are you? It was not like He was asking for a location. It was more like saying, if you are not in the place where you are supposed to be found, why are you not there? Why am I looking for you elsewhere? So you see, certain things we brought upon ourselves. The issue of it, God created us, but think about it. The sicknesses that we have, God did not create them. No, think about it. I've lived in a country where you have a mosquito bite. You have a mosquito, even when you are bitten by the mosquito, you don't have malaria. As a matter of fact, they don't even know what malaria means. So they don't have drugs for it. They don't know typhoid, so they don't have drugs for it. So you talk about STDs, you talk about stomach infection, you talk about eye infection, you talk about skin infection, you talk about all of this. They are all man-made. So we're coming back to happiness and health. So man tempered with the original idea of God's creation. And that is why today we are having a topic such as this: living healthy and happy. So if you are talking about happiness, what brings about happiness? Something made you sad. If you are talking about living healthy, something made you actually sick or ill. So God's intention was for us to, I think, chill in that garden for as long as we wanted, until man decided otherwise. And that is why till today, man is still living under curse. Whether you like it or not, preach it anyhow you want to preach it. If not, did Adam have to plow the ground? No. Did Eve have to suffer labor? No. But the curse is still existing. For man, you must suffer to earn. For woman, you will, in fact, the pain that is almost as equal as taking your life. So when people die during childbirth, it's a curse. And people are looking for means now. They do cesarean sections and all of that. But still, sir, man lives under the curse. You can't do CS to eat. you get the point, right? You must plow the ground. There are certain things you cannot just do without. If God said, I've put this in place to punish man, you cannot change it, sir. No matter how hard you try, you can't change it.
That was like theological background.
Say what?
From
That was the what? Ki animal sokana. Please, somebody should interpret that.
I was almost about to say thank you, honorary.
Yesterday,
When you said that.
yesterday morning, I had a meeting somewhere in Kaduna, and someone was he was introducing people, and he said, "This is Reverend Tony." Sorry, This is Engineer Tony. And he said, no, this point we should start with Reverend Tony. He said, why am I calling you Reverend? I said, it's honorary.
Well, we honestly we live in a fallen world. Yesterday we were talking about how noisy the environment is. That um, if you're not mindful, if you are not careful, you find yourself living sad. We always talk about positive mindsets. We talk about the point of change starting from the mindset, changing your mindset. That is not to say that those negative thoughts will not come, but don't dwell on it if you want to live happy. Because when you wake up, there are times the thoughts will come. Oh, you have to go to work. You have to deal with this person. You have to deal with that problem. You have to deal with that challenge. Maybe you're thinking of a loved one that is dealing with one sickness or the other. So all those thoughts will come. It is up to you to decide what to do when they come. And in living happy, or in choosing to live happy, you must be deliberate about not dwelling on those negative thoughts. So because we live in a fallen world, of course, there are so many reasons to make you unhappy. But if you want to live happy, then it must start from you approaching issues, situations with a positive outlook. Approaching issues with a productive mindset. That even when you see like problems, challenges staring at you, you will say, I will overcome. Every day you wake up, you speak positive to yourself. This is the day the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. You hear people say, oh, you have a great day. They are not unaware of some of the challenges that you're going to encounter, from the traffic, the needs, the situations around you, that probably colleague or the security that might just want to harass you and all of that. But for you to have a great day, you have to be deliberate. It starts from the mindset, the positive outlook, that yes, regardless of all these things that are happening, I choose to live happy. And like he said earlier on, living happy and healthy works hand in hand. There's no way you'll be happy that you will not be healthy. And then it's difficult for you to be unhappy and be healthy at the same time. Some of the unhappiness that dwells in you produce the health issues and challenges. If you live in pain, in anger, in bitterness, it gives birth to depression, it gives birth to heart attack and all of that. So if you want to be happy in the world where we live today, you must be deliberate about choosing to stay happy. You have to wake up every day like David. This is the day the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. You must be deliberate about looking at the positivity in everything rather than the negative. There are some people out there that whenever anything happens, the first thing they do is to look at the cause, the problem, what led you. You dwell on the issue. And that is why you suffer. You spend the whole day being bitter, being angry, and all of that. But for you to be happy, like it's really important that in a time such as this, you live happy. It's going to save you a lot of stress. If you are going to live unhappy, like if you're going to look at the issues around you, then you will live bitter, not just unhappy, but bitter. Because when you look at the news, you see how that electricity tariff is to go up by 40%. When it's 1st of July on Saturday. So when you look at government policies, they are not favoring you. When you look at that colleague, is trying to be a stumbling block. When you look at the environment, this attack, that, like all the vicissitudes will just make you live unhappy. So for you to be happy, it's so important for us to live happy, and it begins with having a positive outlook.
You see, I loved the way Engineer Tony started up this show. That's what I had in mind at first, but his was just
Thank you. I'm grateful for honoring me. What some people will feel like it will take a whole life to honor me. I'm grateful. You did it effortlessly. I'm grateful. Please say your point. I believe it's going to be much more important. Please go ahead.
I like the fact that he
Go ahead. Don't. It's all right. Go ahead.
Okay, so I like the fact that he started up everything, telling us how creation had. I mean, how we got it wrong from creation, how man got it wrong from creation, and I think that when the curse was being laid, there were unspoken curses as well. And when I say unspoken curses, I mean the emptiness that comes from not having that fellowship anymore. So you begin to see that every other person, everybody is now seeking for ways to find happiness. That little wonder you find some people resort into very ungodly things to find that happiness. You find someone just, some people just get the thrill from being violent. They just beat people up and that makes them happy. Momentary. It's momentary because they're seeking for happiness where it is not supposed to be found. You find that people will go out looking for drugs to give them the high. At that moment, they're ecstatic. They feel like they are on a different level. Oh, I'm so excited right now and I'm happy. But immediately that drug is subsiding, happiness disappears. So you find that because of that emptiness from how we've gotten it wrong earlier on, because of that emptiness, we go about finding happiness in the wrong places, doing the wrong things to get happiness. And because we keep on doing the wrong things to get happiness, we end up being unhappy. And when you're unhappy, you're not healthy. Happiness and healthiness, like health and happiness, go hand in hand. If your mind is not at peace, if you're always troubled, if you're always disturbed, then health will be far from you. You find that it's not, you would, today this person is complaining, oh, I'm having a headache. No, I'm having stomach ache, my body muscles are just weak. You just have complaints every morning because that happiness is no longer there. And as I said, because you go about looking for the wrong form of happiness, we always get it wrong. And because we always get it wrong, we are unhealthy. It's just a simple logic. And for us to actually really be happy and healthy rather, it is only if we return back to the original plan, that fellowship. See, when you wake up in the morning, you said be deliberate about being happy. So now I'm going to use your words, but this time around I'm saying be deliberate to fellowship so you can be happy.
Well, I can never remember her saying that. But then
said something like that.
It's something
like
close, so
okay, you
I
qualified,
just
but yeah,
yes,
yeah,
I just
yeah.
elaborated on that word.
So now
You
you
see-
said something close. It's not even it at all. Wow. See how people can just steal people's life.
It
No,
is-
it's close. I elaborated on it, so it's
just
close.
you
Why
said-
didn't you make your own point? I elaborate on your
why are
point.
you sad when you said happiness is a deliberate
I'm
act?
not sad. Look,
so-
I'm laughing. I'm happy.
It's not a.
I'm living
it's
happy.
Not, it's not a
and
pure
healthy.
water. Sorry, it's not a pure laughter.
At least you should be happy because for her to build her point, part of her point, though, on what you said, I think it's something that should give you joy.
On
Like
Christ,
your
the
name.
solid rock I stand.
we are standing on sand.
Yeah, I will not sink. Starting on that note, there's a reason for that because on that, the reason why I asked the question is because people are struggling out there without really getting the real idea and where we all got it wrong. And I think it's very important. That theological angle really settles the matter because it opens up, the mind of people that are watching, and they want to see it beyond just talking about living happy and then living healthy. And when you say living healthy, you see, you can take it in two dimensions, two different ways. You can be physically not healthy, but spiritually healthy. That settles the physical. And then you can still be happy simply because you feel you look for it in your own way, and it will make you feel like you are there, you are happy, forgetting the real source. that means it's temporal. And then you hear people saying, because when you guys are talking, I'm just imagining someone sitting down there, and then he was like, these people are joking.
Why not she?
Yes.
Could be either.
You know? Yeah. And then they will be like, these people are joking. They don't even know what they are saying. Do you mean I will be going through this and you expect me to be happy? It is possible. And that's why we are discussing it today. It is possible to be going through what you are going through and still be happy.
You are not happy because you are going through the thing. You are happy because of who you are.
True.
So we underestimate this gift called salvation. We underestimate it. We just don't know what it is. Have you ever seen a man burning in a building? Have you ever seen a man trapped in a car that is ablaze? Whatever you do, that fire cannot stay longer than 30 minutes. It's off. At most 1 hour is off. But when you talk about hell, the Bible says forever and ever. That forever and ever was never explained. And then they gave you something that has saved you from that. Using someone. Sir, that's better than the biggest private jet on earth. It's better than owning a house, only you in an island. And people don't understand. You look up to your salvation for happiness. It's deliberate, sir. That's why you see, I've never ever been scared of any sickness in my life. I've been sick several times. But I don't look for my sickness. I look for my healing. My concentration is not on the sickness. My concentration is on the healing. Faith does not deny the fact that I'm going through this right now. But faith brings it to an end. I can't be foolish and say, no, I am not sick. No. If I am, I confess it. The Bible says, let the weak say I'm strong. Let the sick say I am healed. I confess healing. Now, if I go back to confessing my sickness, I'm going back to looking for the sickness. But if I maintain a positive confession about my life, most definitely I'm going to stay healthy. I'm going to be happy staying healthy. Sir, you must understand, people must understand that there is a clear-cut difference between what is wisdom and what is knowledge. I mean, they are within the same family of the compound of words, but men, when you define them, when you dissect them, you understand. Wow, prudence, very beautiful. Look at you. Look at what you're wearing. Very pretty lady. That's knowledge. Wisdom explains the beauty of prudence, but knowledge tells me. Knowledge explains the beauty of prudence to my senses, but wisdom tells me that's not yours. Do you understand what I'm saying? You go to the bank, you see money stack, and then you start like, wow, 10, 20 raps, 30 raps. That's 48 million. Wow. That's knowledge. Wisdom tells you. Knowledge got it right, but that's not yours. You see, that's what is missing in the lives of people. Until you define that every pretty woman who passes by can be appreciated. Knowledge, but cannot be like possessed. Like you can't possess her as yours. Wisdom. Every fine car that drives by can be appreciated as a fine car. If you cannot have it or afford it at that point in time, wisdom should tell you the only thing you can do is that knowledge part. You play it, you appreciate it, and it ends there. Do you know there are certain things that can be Okay, look at honey. Honey is sweet, right? How do you know honey is sweet? Because knowledge told you that. But can you pour honey in a goosey soup? Wisdom tells you no, it does not work. I mean, there are people that can eat it, you know. There are people that can eat it. There are certain tribes that they eat a lot of things. I mean, we're in church, let's be honest. I mean, you know, Matt, I love you. I hope you know that. But let's be realistic about certain things, sir. If knowledge is telling you that the word of God has situation, has solution per situation, what is wisdom telling you? Use it or leave it. Subscribe. That's the best word. Subscribe. And you have to go to, sir, why am I stuck with a man that gives me nothing but troubles? Nothing but pain. What am I doing there? Is it okay that I'm related to a man? We're talking about happiness and we're talking about health. Sir, there are sicknesses that people are going through. There's no drug for it. So let's leave such and face the one that does not have drug. It's called depression. Go to the pharmacy and ask them, you need drugs for depression, and see. Or HIV, and see. Or mental illness, and see. They don't have it, sir.
Sleeping pill.
Something that will just calm you down for a while. But when you are calm and you wake up.
To be continued.
So let's look at that boyfriend that you have decided nothing on earth will make you leave him. Out of 10 things that we have asked you, it's only one that he has succeeded 30%. And you say that is what gives you joy. You are looking for things in a relationship that are not perishable. Then you stay close to them. I saw a lady make a post when I was laughing. I laughed. She said, if I date you the way you date me, will you be happy? She posted it on her status. And I'm sure she was talking to somebody. Say, if I date you the way you date me, will you be happy? I laughed. I was like, people are going through a lot. See, Joyce said, as much as I find that it's extremely difficult to quote, you see, if nobody loves you on this set, it's me. If there's anybody that loves you on this set, it's me. See, she's hesitating. Chop knuckle. See, sir. She talked about being deliberate about your happiness. It's the same way you are deliberate about your health. They tell you, this one, don't go there. Does she have sickness? Here we have drugs. If this, that one, you can go now, we'll treat you later, but don't go there. There are women that should be left alone. There are men that should be left alone. There are territories that you should avoid for the sake of your happiness, your peace of mind, and your health. Do you not know that there are people that have broken up from a relationship till today? They talk anyhow because they are traumatized. They live anyhow. They don't dress anymore. Well, they tell you who's there to appreciate. There are women who have lost their husbands. They say, no, I'm not getting married, Jack. I'm not getting married anything. Leave me the way I am. Nobody. I think it was you or Hassan that told me a story of one woman who lost her husband. The husband was maltreating her and all of that. And he died. And then they asked her, excuse me, to remarry. She said, God forbid. That man that died is the love of her life. So when people say you are the love of my life, do they understand what it means? Is it your existing life or even the life after? If the man dies, would you replace him with another person? If yes, how many love of your life do you have? Sir, this heart that we have, the Bible says we should guard it diligently. Because from it comes health, from it comes enjoyment, from it comes happiness, issues of life. Everything, sir. So, and you let it open to every kind of thing. Why do you think you live happy? When we know clearly well in Africa, you tie a wristwatch, it just looks fine. Maybe it's not even expensive. Somebody's looking for you to kill you. And when you die, they find out the wristwatch is just 500 naira, but it's just fine. People are not just happy that you are even on today's life talking to them. What do you know that you can school them? That's why I always say our message is not for everyone. There are some people, like someone sent me a message openly on Facebook that they watch me on Equa television every day in an orphanage in Kafanchan. So these are the things that give me joy, not people that compare what I do with other stations or how they would have done it. And I don't care, sir. I don't care. And that is part of being deliberate about your happiness. So if you start relating to your husband or your wife the way other people do, that's not what gives them joy. It's not the source of their happiness. Check well, sir. There's something else. It's not that relationship. Maybe it's a decision they took. We always fight. But we'll fight things. But we should be happy. You don't know. When we talk about being deliberate, we are saying, sir, there's no better way to explain it than to say be deliberate. If you are walking this way, the other road is longer, but there is sadness on this road. Change it. Change it. Don't think you can deal with it when you get there. No, sir. You will get infected with the kind of disease that is not curable. How do you start treating it? Haven't you seen people who are driving very big car? You think they are talking on hands-free, sir? They are talking to spirits. Because they have gone. Frustration. The car is rich, is air conditioned and all that. They are not making a phone call. Someone asked me one time, he said, have you ever addressed your wife in her absence? I said, which married man has not done that? He said, him sometimes he'll be driving and he'll be talking only him. No, I am the I am the owner of this house. I am the head. Changing gear. No, and if I say something, you must do it. And when he enters house, he sees a different head. I said, sir, certain things are not by masculine powers. Certain things are by wisdom. There are people who sit at home like this, and their wife, just with a look, the wife knows that no, it's not the right time to sweep the parlor. There are people who, it's not like, it's not like you are a dictator. No, you are just, is a communication skill. There are times you are eating with visitors. When your children come in, there is a way they will see you. They know that daddy is not happy with our presence. We better go back to our own abode. See, it's communication. There can be happiness when that is done. But sir, when you lose it, and you did lose it, using your emotions, is almost difficult to get it back 100%. So that is why we are saying people should avoid instances, avoid circumstances, avoid situations, avoid conditions, avoid terrains, avoid places, avoid locations that have the chances of tampering with these settings within you.
If you want to live happy, like if you want to be happy, like you have to be happy on purpose. Like you have to decide, I'm not letting anyone steal my joy. Because whether you like it or not, there are people out there that are bent on making you unhappy. There's just someone out there that just wants to look at you and say, hey, you look ugly. So if you want to dwell on what the person is saying, then the whole of your day is messed up. Because you find out that you're angry, and there are people that just let people like hold their happiness. Just a word.
Some people, that's their joy. To
Yes.
make people unhappy.
Some people, while some people is their character, they are not even thinking whether they are doing it for you to be happy or sad. It's their character, and they are much more in number than those who do it too intentionally. Because the people who do it too intentionally, they know you. For them to do that to you, they know you. You can't pick on random people and start doing nonsense to them.
Yeah, sure.
I tell you one thing that happened to me. I saved for over a year to buy a particular car. So when I got that car, I was like, wow. I'll drive, wind down, there's AC, but I wonder so that people hear the music. One day, you know all these rickety taxis in Area 1? Before Erufai came. Okay, carry this nonsense, come off our road. They do shakara. How much be this car? So I turned, I looked at what he was driving. So the engine of my car could buy 2 of that. The entirety of his vehicle, the engine of my car alone could buy 2 of that. But look at what he told me. Sir, if I had parked my car to fight him, do you know what? I thought I didn't know the influence he was acting upon. I didn't know his conversation with his wife at home. I didn't know maybe Agbirus made him angry. The tax force, all these touts around. I didn't know where he was coming from. So why? We didn't even have much crisis then of fuel. It was even cheap, less than
maybe that's
100
his
then.
condition.
Yeah,
At that time.
but I was wondering, why did he say that? And I said to myself, most likely it is all these people whose life is characterized, most of these people whose lives are characterized rather by all of this. I can shout anywhere, I'm a thug, if they do me, I'll do them. Guess what? He was coming on one way. I was on the right lane. This guy was shouting, carry this nonsense, come off the road. I must be this car. And he drove off. And I looked at his car, smoking and all of that. And I said, the engine of that car would have bought 2 of his own. The entirety of his vehicle. If I had stopped, sir, to address this man, do you think there will be difference between both of us?
No.
There is an adage in Hausa, there's a saying in Hausa, that when you go to swim in the river and a madman carries your cloth and run away, if you start chasing him, the attention will not be on the man, it will be on you. Because you are the one naked, he's the one with clothes in his hands. They would think you are the madman chasing somebody to seize clothes. So what you should do is remain in that river. If there are no crocodiles, remain in that river. When someone is passing, then you can plead with them and tell them this is what happened. But you see, like what Joyce is saying, exactly, there are so many people like that. Haven't you been to a market where someone is begging you to buy something and you pass over and he insults you? So many things to make you angry, so many things to make you happy as well.
Yeah. And it's actually really important that you don't base your happiness on things, because if you continuously base your happiness on things, you would not be happy. For instance, if you base your happiness on acquiring something, okay, for instance, you base your happiness on getting money, being financially buoyant, you would be financially buoyant because there's something about confession, but you won't get the happiness you're looking for. If you base your happiness on the fact that, oh, I need to live my life and go to school, graduate, get married, and I'll be happy, I'll be settled and happy, you would look for happiness, because that's not supposed to be the source of your happiness. So it is important that you are able to identify exactly what is the source of my happiness. And the truth of the matter is that the source of everything that we have here on earth, whether we have accepted that we have received it or not, whether we think that we did it by ourselves or not, we do know that the source of our happiness is God. So regardless, whatever you're doing, you just continuously condition your mind that whatever I'm receiving, whatever I have right now, whatever I've worked for, I got it because of God. I received it from Him. Because if you are not thinking in that way, you would base your happiness on the wrong things. And if you base your happiness on the wrong things, they are always fleeting. They come and they go. Today you find a man financially buoyant. Tomorrow he's broke. Today you find someone, oh, I'm having the most awesome relationship. My boyfriend is awesome. My girlfriend is awesome. My husband is great. My wife is great.
Why
and
are you
tomorrow
looking at Joyce?
hear
My boyfriend is great. You started looking at Joyce. Did she say that recently?
You know, Prudence. honestly, happiness comes from deliberate effort.
You have
As
said
in,
it before.
you decided.
You don't have points. You have said it
No
before. Just
problem.
leave us to do this show alone. I love you. You love me.
Let me just give this illustration
Okay, you don't like my song.
for children. Like when, when okay, when you interact with children, you hear them say, "Oh, I can't wait to grow to be like Auntie this or Uncle that, so that I can do this and do that." Like they have a lot of things to say when they grow up. And eventually we start hearing songs like adulthood na scam, because they grew up, they got to that point, and then they say, oh, now they are faced with bills, they are faced with this challenge, that challenge, and all of that. And that was the point I was about to make earlier when I say you have to be deliberate about not allowing anyone steal your joy. There are people that are bent on making you unhappy. They wake up every day thinking, strategizing, planning on how to make life difficult for you. And that is why even if you are at the point of a meeting making decisions, somebody will just, that's people they call leftists, will try to make things look difficult or try to make decisions difficult for you. I remember I shared these stories with one time on today's live. Somebody will look at, like you said, the car that you're using. What is this car?
Who is the he said?
I don't know the person you encountered that told
But
you
who
that.
said it?
You
Say
said
like
that.
he said. So I'm a common like he said.
Like somebody will look at you and say, this suit that is wearing something that can even something that is 1,000 or 1,200. Look at the person, what the person is cannot even afford that thing. And just think about it, that you go by what this person said and then you're not happy the whole of the day. So you have to be deliberate. Tell yourself that these circumstances, these challenges, we are raising point earlier about some people say you don't understand. I've met a lot of people that will tell you that better you if you know what I'm going through. Who told you that I don't have challenges that I face as well? But I choose not to focus on the problem because I know it's just a phase, and I've casted all my cares on the one who cares for me, because it's an instruction. If I believe in him, he said, cast all your cares on me because I care for you. Most times we want to deal with our problems our own way, and that is why you live unhappy. That is why when you deal with this challenge, once it's gone, another one is coming, because you have decided to take it upon yourself to actually meet all of those needs. And that other person that you're looking at, better them, they were born with golden spoon and all of that. Dear you, everybody is faced with challenge. That person that you're seeing happy is deliberate about being happy. So you have to, like, I cannot overemphasize this point, get to that point of deliberately. And there are factors that affect your happiness. Who are the people you keep around you? What are the conversations you're always having? If you're always dwelling on the negative, and it will continue to affect you and you will live unhappy. But when you surround yourself with positive people, you have good relationships, then you can't help but be happy. Some people go into relationships with the wrong people, or keep themselves among circles that don't even help them in any way. Instead, they can only worsen your situation. The conversation every day is on problem. Like, I run away from such people when every day is always problem you're talking about. Like, it has a way of affecting how you think about it. There are a lot of things to deal with. You're planning, this is your goals, these are your purpose you want to achieve, and then you keep people around you that are always talking about problem. There's no day that they talk about achievement or goals, or they are appreciating God, that God is faithful about this. It's always talking about problem and
Joyce,
dwelling on
people around you. You just mentioned people around you. Yesterday I had a great time traveling with Solo and Hassan, and we spoke a lot of things about life. We were just talking about life generally and all that. It got to a point, and I said, my brothers, things will always be the way they are. People will always be who they are. But you have to make a decision. What is the decision? You change your approach to how you deal with them. That's just it. If you know that, Prudence is a hateful person to deal with, What is your approach to dealing with her? You can dichotomize. What do? You block every avenue to see that hatred from her. It's your approach, it's not hers. She's living in hatred. That's who she is. You talk about people who always complain. What is your attitude towards them? You have to be deliberate. That's when we say be deliberate about your happiness. It's not just happiness, even your health. When people tell you terrible things and you go home and you start crying, what's the drug for that? How did you hear the terrible things? You put yourself in the position to be fed with terrible things. Unfortunately, there are places where you come to work and you have to hear what people say because they just sit right next to you. So you have to come up with an approach. Either you keep talking to them or you keep reporting them. Because it's for your own good. If you are not bothered, why talk about it? If it's not bothering you, why pay any attention to it? That's the whole idea. See, sir, people don't care what makes you angry. People care what makes them happy. No, nobody cares what makes you angry. No, they don't care. They care what makes them happy. So if you being angry makes them happy, you are in trouble. You are in trouble.
That's their source of happiness.
That is their joy, sir. That is their joy. And they are happy dishing it out.
So there's this person, and I think the person needed help. You know, there's this feeling when your friend, your colleague is making you unhappy, is dealing with your emotions, than your real source, where you're coming from biologically. Like you sitting down and then watching your siblings or your parent, your father or your mother looking at you and then telling you that you are the most dullest in the family. And then you're looking for support. Anytime you ask for something, it comes late. Like you see it happening, but when it comes to your turn, for instance, they are paying school fees for 5 people, different school. In your own case, it's always coming late. And then maybe until you are driven, then that's where your case will settle. The same family. And then, like every time you look around, you see how other people, parents behave. And then you keep growing until like you get to university and you are about graduating. And that thing consistently like keep repeating. And at a particular time, it's just like you are just living alone, but people see you, they know your parents are alive, and that's what you get. And then the reason why I'm saying this, there's this a friend, I think he will be graduating next year in the university. He's in University of Nasarawa State University. He'll be graduating. I heard him sharing this bitterness, this kind of treatment. And then sometimes you hear him saying, "Oh, I'm living by grace." But when I look around, I just see only me living in an island. My life is all about me since when I was a child, like since when I was in primary school up to now. Like next year, I'm looking forward to graduate. Why is it that things are not changing? For small time, you will hear the person say, "But anyway, thank God. At least God have brought me this far." But you could hear that whenever the person is talking about that particular cycle, you will hear that vibration of anger, bitterness coming around. And then at some point, you just feel like there's this tendency that this person could just stop halfway. I think this person will need to hear something from this table.
Yes. You see, he has to be deliberate as well. Negativity has never ever in the history of this world's existence helped anybody. It helps you to the poorhouse. It helps you to becoming a poor person, a poorer, until you become the poorest person. But if you have the privilege of meeting him next time, ask him 2 questions. What were you able to make out of your story for yourself? Number 2, why do you come back to say thank God? If you come back to say thank God, then don't go back to the story. Remain on the thank God lane and continue. Maybe that is the only cross he has to pay for his success. He might turn out to be the governor of his state tomorrow, and his story will be sweet. We had a former president of this country say he had no shoe, he had no this, but today he's the president of the country. Should it matter where he came from? No. Should it matter what he went through? No. Should it matter who he was? No. As a matter of fact, people like that have greatness waiting for them in their future. It doesn't have to be that way. But most of them, most of the time when you hear stories like that, you see their end. In movies, we see it. In real life, we see it. In hearing stories, we hear it. So he should just be positive. And when he becomes somebody in life tomorrow, his parents will cross leg and say, that's our son. He's our 4th child. We had him in 19. They'll start telling you his history. But they will bypass what they did to him that was not right. And I think he should outgrow that and stop talking about it. You are graduating next year. But man, even if you don't graduate next year,
I was
sir.
going to say is he had reached that stage. There are people that never saw the 4 walls of school.
Joyce, there are people whose parents are multi-millionaires. They have taken, I know a lot of them physically. They have taken their children abroad to study. They return the children back because the children are on drugs. Would he prefer that his story was that way, that his parents did everything, but he met one terrible boy who introduced him to alcohol, drugs, sex, and all of that? No, sir.
See, and I just wanted to say, earlier when I mentioned you should look for the source, he went back to say, thank God he's where he is now. Then he should focus on that. When I said look to the source of your happiness for your happiness, not just the resources. Every other thing that you're seeing around is just the resources that he has placed so that you would be happy using them. But the main source of your happiness is from him. So this guy, the main source of his happiness is from God. If he keeps on saying thank God, then he should dwell on the fact that this position he is, where he is right now, is God that has given it to him. That's the source of joy, and there's no other thing that should deter him. Whatever family will bring is not the matter. Whatever troubles the society is bringing, that's not the problem. The only thing that really matters is that he is focused on God as his source of happiness. See, yes, it might seem like he's an island right now, and he feels I have no other person to turn to. I'm just alone. But you know something about God is that the more you tilt towards fellowship with Him constantly, there's a certain there's a certain form of peace and happiness that dwells within you. And if He focuses on that, I'm not saying that relationship with others does not matter, but if He focuses on that, He would mostly see the good in what in some people, or the positive that could come out from any negative situation that he's finding himself in. And I think that that's the best. I'm just building on what Engineer Tony said. Truth of the matter is,
because he said sometimes he had to hang around people that he feels he's not supposed to hang around them, simply maybe because he's looking for one favor or the other, to meet up some school, whatever. Like the person, I want to strongly believe that hearing this coming from this set, I believe it will really boost his confidence, in where he's going.
Let him not think that he's alone. Sometimes when you go through stuff, God removes people out of the way to help you, so that He can see your level of reliance upon Him. So I've been in situations where I needed money I'm bigger than. I have friends that could give me, but God deprived me any source. He closed every source that money could come. And then finally I asked myself, I said, this thing cannot even kill me, so why am I bothered? And the day that problem expired, I made almost 10 times the money a week later. Sir, sometimes we are just disturbed personally. That is why we say deliberate. We are disturbed personally about things that are not. Sometimes when you see people at work, you just call them, come to my office. What is it? Sir, for 3 days now, I've been walking to work. I walk to office, I walk back. I don't even eat. I don't even. And then I ask them, do you know how many people don't even have that work? That job that you walk to. So there's nothing in your life to thank God about. And suddenly you see their whole day is brightened up. Even when you give them money, it doesn't do anything, but they are just happy that they heard that. Sometimes Joy said, be deliberate about the people you keep around you. Maybe you go and tell somebody that same thing. I know our time is fast spent, but you tell somebody the same thing. Do you know what they tell you? That's your work. Won't you just resign and look for something else? And it sticks to your head. You start thinking of options. You leave a job that you have not found another one. I've had people who work with me, whether here or anywhere. They left because of pressure. And pressure is always with us. Pressure is living with us.
Who made you feel? What made you feel that the place you are going to is?
There is also pressure. Today, some of them don't have anything doing.
I think,
and they chat me, boss, is there anything for us? Is there anything for us? I say, it's that same job you left.
I think it's important again for people not to anchor their happiness on other people. I've seen a lot of people living in depression, mental issues, because they anchor their happiness on their partners, either in relationship as single or as married. And that's why every time you end up being disappointed. So know the source of your happiness. And then other people are unhappy because they are living in competition. Like this guy that we finished secondary school with or university with, he has this, he has that. See me for the past. I mean, why didn't you compare your life with that person that is at the ICU, that person that is that is living on oxygen, that person that is at the mortuary? So we should live a life of thanksgiving, just like David. Every day count it a blessing that you can walk to walk. Is a blessing. You have that leg. Others don't.
Since the camera is on you, end the show.
So let's live a life of thanksgiving. Let's be happy. Let's live happy. That's the much we'll take on today's life. Thank you, Samus Lumon, Prudence Burger, and able engineer Tony J. Nakali.
Finally, I'm happy calling my name. Thank the Equa Executive.
Thank you, Equa Executive, for
Thanks,
giving us this platform. Thank you, our supporters. We really appreciate
Tell them
you.
to remember to be kind to one
Thank
another.
you. Remember to be kind to one another.
Tell them goodbye. We'll see them tomorrow.
Goodbye. We'll see you tomorrow.